William Whalen again here for GetMoreSports.com, and we're going to go down to the desert to Tucson, Arizona, and take a look at Sean Miller's Arizona Wildcats, a team that is right now slated as a number 2 seed in just about every bracketology report you will find. They are number 2 on my bracketology. What I'm wondering is, could Arizona work their way back up to the number 1 seed line like they were a year ago? Sean Miller's group started off the year a little bit shaky, not looking like a top 10 team. We talked about it here on GetMoreSports.com. People talked about it nationally. They didn't just have the it factor, and a lot of it was because Stanley Johnson had not yet asserted himself, and that has certainly happened down the stretch of the season, looking truly like one of the top freshmen in the country that we all expected him to be. But what about Arizona's resume? Do they have what it takes to move up a number of spots into the number 1 conversation? What has to happen? Well, number 1, their RPI is number 7 out of everybody. And so when you look at that, who has to move down? What kind of shifts need to happen for them to start feeling comfortable about their chances? Number 1, Wisconsin losing to Maryland was a big help to them, because if Maryland loses at home to Wisconsin, that gives Wisconsin their signature road win, something that is vital for a number 1 seed to have. Also, what needs to happen, Gonzaga slipping up would certainly help, or at least the committee looking at Gonzaga as a mid-major team and evaluating them as such. That would certainly help their cause. Another team that needs to start to slip up a little bit, and that we haven't talked a whole lot about in the questions of who's going to be number 1, would be Villanova. Villanova is a dark horse candidate to sneak in and get maybe the 4th top seed, because they're playing in a conference that, while it holds them back a little bit RPI-wise, they've run through it. Only 2 conference losses. They've been extremely impressive, especially of late, playing their best basketball of the year. I think they need to fall off. And then you start to look at really 3 teams: Virginia, Duke, and Kansas. RPI-wise, they're still ahead of Arizona. Kansas is the most likely to fall off of those teams, obviously, with their recent loss to Kansas State. I think they could continue to plummet. They're not going to be a number 1 seed, but their RPI is going to keep them near the top of the 2 seed conversation. And then I certainly think something needs to happen with the dynamic between Duke and Virginia, because one of those teams is going to meet up with each other, at least more than likely, in the ACC tournament, or they're going to fall out early, both of which would certainly help Arizona move forward. But that's all what everybody else can do. What do the Wildcats need to do themselves? They've got 3 games left against RPI top 50 teams. However, only 1 against an RPI top 25 team. That would be against the Utah Utes, and that game is in Salt Lake City, a game that I predicted the Utes to win. If Arizona can go in and steal that, as well as stay undefeated in the rest of their games through the regular season, they set themselves up well for Las Vegas in the Pac-12 tournament. But in the Pac-12 tournament, given this conference's relative lack of strength, I think you need the right path. You need to run into, at some point, an Oregon. You need to run into a UCLA, assuming they stay top 50 RPI. You'll definitely need to meet Utah in the Pac-12 championship finals for the tournament. You have to get that right path, because you need enough pieces to stack up and jump a Gonzaga. You need those pieces to jump a Villanova, and you need those pieces to keep you in the conversation if Wisconsin, Duke, or Virginia lose in their conference tournaments, and Kansas is not going to get a 1 seed, so I wouldn't be worried about that. But RPI-wise, you need something to maybe jump them and see them drop. So those are the ways that Arizona could get a number 1 seed. Is it likely? I don't necessarily think so. Are they a national title threat? We'll certainly deal with that more once the tournament is set and we see each team's path. But Arizona has done a very nice job of working themselves back into the conversation. I think this is one of Sean Miller's better coaching jobs. He doesn't have that big-time perimeter guy like Nick Johnson a year ago. And really what he's done is molded this group, taken everybody to play complementary roles really well together. He's developed his bench. And all of a sudden now, Arizona is looking like a trendy pick to get back to the Final Four. If I will pick them, we'll see. But Arizona is back in the conversation.